In the most recent Sister Wives episode, Christine Brown and David Woolley deal with an emotional sticking point. In October 2023, Sister Wives stars Christine Brown and David Woolley tied the knot. A recent heated argument between Christine Brown and her husband, David Woolley, was witnessed by Sister Wives viewers. Christine and Woolley had their most significant argument since marriage in the 7th episode of Sister Wives Season 20, which aired on November 9. According to Prime Timer, Woolley said in the episode, "We had a nice discussion this morning," to which Christine replied, "Well, I don't know if nice is what you would call it." Woolley then continued, "I think it was awesome." Later in the episode, the two disclosed that the subject of their argument was Christine's son, Paydon Brown, and how he frequently uses movie quotes to express his feelings. Christine said, "When I have a deep discussion with him, he has to bring up a movie quote to represent him." Woolley disagreed, saying, "You need to come from your heart so that it's meaningful." After that, the two attempted to understand each other's perspective. As the show went on, Woolley expressed his annoyance with those who silence Christine and punish her for expressing her emotions, saying he would never want to punish her for doing so. Later in the episode, Woolley opened up about his honest opinions regarding polygamy. "I always looked down on it. My oldest sister was mentally damaged from it. From that kind of crap that her husband pulled on her," Woolley told US Weekly. "So you think with polygamy, a big flaw would be the man?" Christine asked Woolley shortly after, to which Woolley replied, "Yeah, major flaw right there." Furthermore, Woolley attacked the patriarchs who practice polygamy, stating, "They use it to control the women in that part." Woolley also asserted that polygamy is used to control women. "It's not a right thing to do," Woolley told Christine. "If you're not obeying me, I'm punishing you, and I'm going to the other one." And then I was like, "Sure, I'll take you right in." Ultimately, the couple hugged one another to close their chat on a positive note. Every Sunday at 10 p.m. ET, Sister Wives airs on TLC. But regarding Cody's current role in Madison's life, Sister Wives star Janelle Brown says, "They haven't." In March 2025, Madison Brush, star of Sister Wives, welcomed her fourth child, a daughter named Amelia. The tense connection between her daughter Madison Brush and her ex-husband Cody Brown was recently further illuminated by Sister Wives star Janelle Brown. Brush didn't anticipate much from her estranged father when she was expecting her fourth kid. In the most recent episode of the TLC reality show, which aired on November 9th, Janelle was questioned about if the patriarch of the Brown family was aware of Brush's due date. According to E! Janelle responded to news by saying, "No, Maddie doesn't really even tell him that she's pregnant." She also said that there was no use in informing Cody about the due date of his oldest daughter in advance. As for Madison's complex relationship with her father, Janelle explained in the episode, "He'll find out." They haven't spoken for a long time. It's probably been 2 or 3 years. For those who are unaware, Madison and her husband, Caleb Brush, welcomed their fourth child, daughter Amelia, in March 2025. Madison sent a charming Instagram photo announcing the birth of her child. Janelle has previously discussed Madison's relationship with Cody. Absolutely worth the wait, Miss Amelia Estelle Brush has finally made her grand entrance. Our sweet girl took her time, keeping us all in suspense. But when she decided it was time, she didn't waste a second. Born on 3/14, she arrived absolutely perfect. "We are completely smitten with our newest little love," she captioned her post. During last year's Sister Wives episode, Janelle told Cody that she was thinking of relocating to Madison in order to be near her grandchildren. "The kids are all feeling very estranged from you," Janelle said in answer to Cody's question. "Why didn't she call me to tell me she was having a baby?" According to People magazine. But Mary Brown was sipping her coffee on the back patio when the chill of an early Flagstaff morning lingered in the air. Inside her heart, everything was tumultuous, even though the mountains appeared serene and the light was a gentle gold over the pine trees. Cody had been distant again. Their relationship had been a low-key show for the cameras, the children, and even themselves for months now. Or, if she was being honest, years. Although Mary had always known that love could wane, she never imagined it would become so vacuous. The act of charade starts. That season, Cody was a completely different person when the TLC cameras began to roll. He grinned again, referred to her as sweetheart once more, and even touched her hand once while they were eating dinner. It wasn't authentic. His eyes, which had earlier gazed at her as if she were the only woman in the world, suddenly flickered with calculating, and Mary could see it in them. It was all done for the audience. Cody was prepared to play the role of the redemptive arc that TLC desired. "Mary and I are rebuilding," he said to the producers. "Despite everything we've been through, love always triumphs." But his expression froze when the camera stopped. Between them, the stillness was as long as a canyon. Private discussions. Mary had the guts to question him one evening. "Do you even love me anymore, Cody?" He let out a sigh. Not sad, not furious, just exhausted. "We have history, Mary. You are important to me." "I didn't ask that question." His jaw tensed as he gazed at her. "We're trying our hardest. The family needs cohesiveness. The show must be cohesive." Once more, that word. The show. The show, not us, not love. Mary's chest constricted as she turned away. He didn't dispute it. He made no attempt at all. The tipping point weeks went by. Cody and Mary appeared to be working things out on TV, filming family dinners, therapy sessions, and lengthy walks in which Cody would wrap his arm around Mary for as long as it took the producers. Off-screen, they hardly exchanged words. Mary overheard Cody and Robin conversing one afternoon. He remarked, "She wants something that's just not there anymore." However, TLC adores a tale of redemption. I'm complying then. She had never been hit so severely by words. Complying. The man she had once trusted and with whom she had formed a family was now acting for the audience rather than for her. The conflict. Mary held off on speaking her mind until the following family gathering. The cameras were rolling and the other wives were present. "I've heard that love requires work," she remarked in a shaky voice. Effort without honesty, however, is performance, not love. Astonished, Cody blinked. "What are you talking about, Mary?" she remarked. "You understand exactly what I'm talking about. Cody, you're acting. For the cameras, the fans, and yourself, you're acting as though you adore me." The room was filled with gasps. Robin appeared astounded as well. "That's not fair, Mary," Cody said in an attempt to get better. "I have consistently attempted to make this work." Mary, however, did not recoil. "No, Cody, you have made an effort to appear as though you are succeeding. There is a distinction." Liberty Mary drove out to a peaceful location by the lake when the day's filming was over. For the first time in years, she felt at ease as she saw the ripples glistening in the afternoon sunshine. She was now free instead of angry. If Cody wanted to, he could continue acting like this. He could keep performing his version of love, smiling for the cameras, presenting the idea of a wonderful family. However, Mary, she had had enough of being a prop in his performance. She departed Flagstaff the following morning after packing her bags. No tears, no dramatic farewell, just a lady taking back her narrative. Epilogue. Mary's Fresh Start, Mary's Walkaway episode was broadcast on TLC months later. Opinions were all over the internet, with some praising her bravery and others criticizing Cody. Mary, however, had lost interest. She had started traveling, built a new bed and breakfast, and even started seeing someone who used to look at her the same way Cody did. Before the lies, before the pressure, before the fame. Mary gave a quiet smile when a talk show host asked if she would ever return. "No," she replied, "because love cannot be faked forever. The truth always comes to light in the end. But this story is not based on actual occurrences. Rather, it is creative fiction. Will Cody and Robin be happy?" A story of sister wives. Gold and rose streaks painted the desert sky as the sun hung low over Flagstaff's red mountains. Sitting quietly at the kitchen table, Robin traced the rim of a cold cup of coffee inside the brown stucco house on the outskirts of town. Silence hung in the air, the same type of silence that had pervaded the house since the other spouses had left. Cody watched the waning light from the window. The self-assured guy who had managed 4 marriages now appeared older, more reserved, and possibly more lonely. His curls had gone more silver than gold. "This should be sufficient," he said partially to himself. "I thought peace would finally arrive after everything and after everyone had left." Robin's eyes were gentle but weary as she looked up. "You believed that spending time alone would resolve the issue? But just because the noise ceases doesn't mean that there is tranquilly, Cody?" His eyes flashed with wrath, not at her, but at himself as he turned to face her. You all so desired this, he remarked. Maybe we could rebuild if it was just the two of us, you said. Maybe, I said, she muttered. But, Cody, we didn't rebuild. We simply ceased our motion. They both became silent for a minute as the wind outside carried the smell of pine from the surrounding hills. The house seemed too big for two people and too loud with the echoes of past laughing. There had once been turmoil, happy, tiresome chaos. The sound of Christine laughing, the fragrance of bread baking, the kids running through the hallways, Janelle's wise counsel, and Mary's calm resolve. Robin had come into that world with the hope that she could keep it together. Despite her intense love for Cody, she never thought she would end up as the last person standing. Robin attempted to persuade herself that it was God's purpose when the other wives departed. Perhaps after all the heartache, this was meant to be, that she and Cody would eventually discover a more profound love. However, months had gone by, and emptiness had replaced the tranquility. The sisterhood was something she missed. The sound of family was missed by her. Robin woke up early one morning. She wrapped a blanket around her shoulders and went outdoors to observe the dawn. She sensed a change within herself, a faint but certain whisper. You can still choose joy. The light burst across the mountains, bright and fresh. Cody's face was softer than normal when he emerged to join her. You woke up early, he remarked. I had trouble falling asleep, she answered. I've been considering the possibility that we've been attempting to live in the past. Perhaps restoring what we had isn't the key to happiness. Perhaps it has to do with creating something fresh. Cody scowled a little. Anything fresh? Yes, she replied. It is independent of who stayed or who left. Something serene, uncomplicated, and wholesome that is only ours. He nodded slowly as he gazed out at the light sweeping across the desert. You believe we can accomplish that? She took his hand and said, I think we can try. However, it entails letting go of the past. It entails pardoning ourselves. After several months, the transformation took time to occur. There were long evenings of stillness, arguments, and tears. However, they gradually started to relax. Finding meaning in assisting others in rebuilding, Robin began working at a nearby shelter for single mothers. Cody started spending more time outside, going on hikes and camping trips, and rediscovering his trust in peace rather than dominance. They occasionally laughed once more. They used to chuckle on camera, but this time it was genuine. They sat around a little fire pit in the garden one evening. The air was cold and the stars were bright. Are they ever missed? Robin inquired softly. Daily, Cody acknowledged. However, I also believe that perhaps in order to find peace, we all needed to separate. With tears in her eyes, she grinned. Perhaps that's what happiness is all about, letting go rather than holding on. Cody extended his arm to grasp her hand. Then I believe we're at last approaching. Conclusion. The narrative of sister wives, the family that attempted to reinterpret love, faith, and unity in an incomprehensible world, will live on in the minds of people for years to come. The cameras had long since stopped rolling for Cody and Robin, however. They discovered that happiness was something you made, one tiny moment at a time, rather than something you inherited from your history in a peaceful house surrounded by pine trees. And at last, they grinned for each other, not for the performance or the world, as the sun sank over the Arizona hills once more. But it has depth, inner conflict, and themes of healing, and it is written in an emotive, novel-like style. Cody allows Mary to be released through Flagstaff's red rocks, the desert wind whispered goodbyes and secrets of freedom. Orange and violet hues painted the sky as the sun sank behind the pines. With her hands encircling a steaming cup of tea, Mary sat by herself on her cabin's porch. She hadn't experienced this kind of stillness in years. It wasn't the oppressive quiet of neglect, but rather the quiet serenity that precedes peace. Behind her, she heard gravel crunching, the familiar footsteps of Cody. She didn't turn right away. She was aware that this talk, which neither of them had the confidence to start until now, had been waiting for them both. Cody's voice shattered the silence. Mary. It lacked the authority it once possessed and was low and hesitant. I believe it's time. Slowly she nodded. I understand. She had lost all of her fury. All of it had been sapped by the years. The confusion, the tears, and the hope that he would one day see her the way he used to. She recalled the young lady from decades ago who, when laughing next to him in the Nevada heat, had faith that love could triumph over all obstacles. However, people changed throughout time, and they had ceased to follow the same course at some point. Cody inhaled deeply. I can't offer you what you deserve. You've been loyal and patient, but I can't keep acting that way, and I don't want you stuck in something that doesn't fulfill you. Mary's eyes reflected the last of the light as she gazed out to the horizon. You know what's peculiar? Quietly, she said. I prayed for you to stand up for me for a very long time, to come see me, but I feel free at last now that you're letting me go. As though a lifetime of remorse had finally descended upon him, Cody's shoulders drooped. I'm letting you go, he replied quietly, from this life, from me, from the covenant. The words lingered in the atmosphere. Both were silent for a long time. Mary put down her cup and stood up. She confronted him as a woman who had regained her value, not as a wife looking for approval. Cody, she answered steadily, I don't need you to give me freedom. I've already located it. However, I appreciate you stating it aloud. Her lips formed a little, bittersweet smile. She held out her hand, not to make amends, but to express appreciation for what they had. After hesitating, Cody accepted it. Despite its simplicity, the gesture contained years of unsaid forgiveness. Twilight grew darker as he turned to go. Mary stared as his figure vanished along the narrow street. The air was chilly and scented with possibilities and pine. She shed a single tear, one of liberation rather than sadness. Returning indoors, she lit a candle on the windowsill. Its gentle, flickering light represented her fresh start. Waiting and yearning for a life that no longer fit were gone. Now, there was tranquility rather than loneliness in the quiet that pervaded her abode. As the stars spanned the Arizona sky that evening, Mary jotted down in her journal, Love doesn't always have to endure forever. Sometimes it's supposed to teach you about yourself at the end. I was freed today, but really, I freed myself. And Mary felt whole at last, somewhere in that great, starlit calm. But in Flagstaff, Arizona, the desert wind howled quietly through the pines on a chilly evening. It was uncannily quiet in the Brown family complex, which had formerly been alive with laughing and the commotion of kids. Janelle Brown was sitting by the window of her small house, her hands warmed by a mug of chamomile tea. Outside, everything appeared to be calm, but within her, a storm had finally subsided. Janelle had been the calm in the storm of the Brown family for years. She was the pragmatic one, the calm voice that diffused tensions, and the one who thought that their several marriages could be repaired by love and faith. However, in recent years, that belief had begun to wane. Once the affable, vivacious head of their large family, Cody Brown had undergone a transformation. The man who had formerly talked of harmony and spiritual cooperation now appeared to be preoccupied with pride, control, and establishing his position. Mary was emotionally aloof, and Christine had already departed, so his relationships with the other wives were tense. However, she believed that things had always been different with Janelle. Cameras were rolling for another Sister Wives show that night. When Cody entered the room with a stiff expression, there was a lot of tension in the air. He looked away from Janelle. Janelle, he said in a cool yet aloof tone, we must discuss the future. About us. She inhaled deeply. Cody, I understand. That is something I have also been considering. The ensuing discussion was painfully quiet, full of long silences and facts that had been shunned for years rather than flaming or boisterous. Janelle informed him that the relationship had shifted from being about love to being more about appearances, and that she no longer felt spiritually attached. Cody attempted to reason with her, to remind her of the commitments they had made decades prior, but his arguments were incoherent. At last, Janelle whispered, Cody, we've been on similar paths for a while, but a long time ago we stopped going on walks together. Cody gazed at her, his eyes sparkling with feelings he would not display on TV. So, that's it? She gave a nod. Indeed, the time has come. Janelle sat by herself once more later that evening after the crew had disembarked. She viewed old family pictures from Christmas mornings, camping trips, and birthdays. There were pleasant recollections of true love. However, she was aware that, like herself, love had changed. She shared a brief message on social media the following morning. Cody and I have made the decision to part ways after many years of development, change, and introspection. I am thankful for our children, the years we spent together, and all that this path has taught me. With calm in my heart, I'm anticipating the next chapter. The word got out fast. Support and love were poured into her remarks by fans. In a statement announcing the split, TLC said that future shows would follow Janelle's path to self-reliance. In the meantime, Cody sat by himself in the quiet of the family's spacious living room. The father now had to confront the reality of what he had lost after juggling 4 wives and 12 kids. He had created a family that was meant to endure forever, but time had other ideas. In the weeks that followed, Janelle began reconstructing her life. She began traveling and chronicling her lonesome adventures after purchasing a tiny plot of land. Welcome to my channel, dear viewers. My name is Sabrina, and I hope you're having a great day. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the video.